Hello everyone and welcome back to SteemTrail Gaming. Today is the 10th August of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for the evening. Today we are going to talk about non-profit game developers as they seem to have issues getting their games onto publishing platforms like Steam or Good Old Games and a few others as well. So this story actually broke out pretty recently as few publishers have discovered that it is really hard to get your game published on one of these platforms if you are a non-profit organizations. Because these platforms like Steam, Good Old Games, and all of the console platforms don't really accommodate for this. An outfit called Glitch recently highlighted this. Glitch is a Minnesota-based community-driven arts and education center for emerging game makers. They want to publish two games. First is called Hyperdot. And Hyperdot, as you can see, is a little minimal action arcing dodge 'em up, which means you're just doing stuff and trying to make sure everything is fine. And the other game is called Optica Game, and this is a mind-bending puzzle game of logic and illusion. Let's actually put on a little trailer here. And they discovered that they cannot really publish these games because, again, Steam, Microsoft, Sony, Good Old Games just don't really know how to handle this kind of companies. And this actually brings up a pretty interesting topics. Should non-profit organizations be allowed to make games? And there I think the pretty clear answer is yes. But should they necessarily be allowed on platforms like Steam or Good Old Games or any of the console platforms? And there we get into a much more nuanced question. It's not only a question of should they be allowed, because I think there the question is yes. The bigger question is, should these platforms be just naturally accommodating to nonprofit organizations? What essentially is the deal here is the fact that these companies only have accounting and just in general their setups set up in a way where they're okay with getting companies that are for profit, like incorporated companies, for example. And I don't really think these companies should be obliged to make these accommodations for non-profit organizations. On the other hand, it would be really nice if they did. It truly would, and I think it would in the end just improve their public image, and it wouldn't hurt them at all. It would probably cost them like $1,000 in their accountant fees, their lawyer fees, and they already have teams of lawyers. They can just say, do this. It's not a big problem for them. So I do think that we will probably pretty soon see the fact that these sort of companies will be able to publish on all of the publishing platforms there where regular companies can publish their stuff. But the question is, how soon will that actually happen? I'm going to assume it's going to take a few weeks to months because so far this story is somewhat small, but it could potentially just spur out of context and make it into a huge deal for these companies, make it into a huge PR issue. And if that happens, yeah, these companies will like make it happen within a day. But until that happens, they will probably not really be in a rush. Only one company actually offered their reaction to this problem. It was GOG, and they said, during the 10 years GOG has been operating on a digital distribution market, we have yet to receive a request to release a game from a non-for-profit organization. So at this point, we don't have a system to allow such games to appear on GOG. It's hard to say that we have a plan to change this since no such organizations contacted us about this possibility. As of right now, if such game would be pitched to GOG and would pass our internal curation process, we are open to discuss such an option. But we definitely need to make a deeper research what that would require from us from the legal and financial perspective, and to make it possible and lawful. And the other companies haven't responded yet, but I'm going to assume that they're probably going to respond in a very, very similar manner. Just saying, even those who have been contacted by, what was the name of the company? Glitch. They might just say, yeah, we know, we're researching this, we're looking into how to make this a thing. But for the moment, we cannot give you any answers because we do not have answers internally either. And that's actually fine. These companies really need to be careful with how they pass laws because, well, any company needs to really be careful about how to pass laws. It's a pretty self-obvious thing, I would assume. So, again, I think within a few weeks to months, we will see most of the major publishing houses actually come up with a policy for non-profit organizations to publish their games through them. I'm going to assume most of these games are going to be free because otherwise it wouldn't make much sense, as likely these non-for-profit organizations have either benefactors or are funded by the government of their respective state, meaning or country, meaning that they cannot really ask much money for their services. It would sort of go against their spirit, I would say. But either way, I don't think it's that big of a problem for any of the major publishing houses. They already have hordes of lawyers, hordes of accountants. They can figure it out. And I hope they do. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Steam, maybe you want to give us an upvote and follow the blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment and be sure to tune in tomorrow for more gaming news, as we are a source of daily gaming news every single day. See you guys later with more gaming content.